Hello everyone, this is Mary Abiodun. I shout out to ECX. Thank you very much for inviting me for this program to speak on crafting a CV like a pro. So just give me a moment and I will be presenting my slides shortly. Okay, so I hope you can see my slides. So brief introduction about me. Yes, my name is Mary Abiodun and I'm the business lead at Striking CVs. So my work basically at Striking CVs now is to help people craft amazing and striking CVs such that it gets you into the door with your prospective employer such that you get an interview and you're called for a job. Apart from helping people write CVs, I also manage a team of other CV writers and we also help them craft amazing cover letters as well. Then there are also consulting sessions for interviews. So for example, if you want to attend an interview and you really do not know how you're going to go about it, you can also reach out to us and we can always book a session, walk through it with you and practice with you and all of that. Then we also have a community where you can ask any question about if you are going for a job, should I apply for this job, different things, and there are usually daily job updates on that particular community. So yes, this is just a brief description about me and what I do as Striking CVs. So without wasting so much of your time, let's just go into the business of the day. Okay, so we have this infographic here by careerlifts.com. And the big question here says, what can you explain with this? So now this is like a funnel. If you take a look at the top of the funnel, it says CVs received. So this is just showing you like the processes a recruiter goes through just to employ a person for a job. So for example, when a recruiter or an HR manager puts out a particular job vacancy, he or she gets about 1,000 to 1,500 applicants applying for that job. So if after the first step they screen, there is this possibility that 60% of those who have applied, that's 60% of the 1,000 to 1,500 applicants gets dropped. So if they move to the second stage, which is like scanning, 90% of people drop out. So just be calculating in your mind what 90% of 1,000 and 1,500 will be. That will give you an idea of how many people actually move to this stage. Then the next process now is selection. And in the selection stage, just only about 2 to 3% are invited to the interview. Um, 2 to 3% of 1,000, that should give us like about 30. So let's imagine that 30 people get through to the interview stage. So they have the interview, and at the end of the day, it's just one person that they need for the job. So this is giving you a background now of what to really do from the beginning to the end for you to really get the job you're looking for. Now, the CV. So today's session is majorly about crafting a CV like a pro. So we are going to be focusing majorly on CV. Probably other times we can talk about cover letters, we can talk about interviews, but for today it's just the CV. And one thing I want you to know is that the CV is you in written form. I take that again. The CV is you in written form. So if you're applying for a job, the recruiter has not met you before. They don't know you. They don't know what you can do. But just by seeing your CV, is more like they've seen you. They have an idea of who you are and what you can do. So that's why the CV is just you in written form. And then what are the 4 facts you should know? So we are going to go through the 4 facts you should know about the CV right now. So first of all, your CV is not an autobiography. Now, what's an autobiography? An autobiography um is more like you writing about your life history yourself. But that's not what your CV is. It's not an autobiography as well. So that's to tell you that there are certain information that are not needed in your CV. So when you are crafting your CV, just take note that it's not an autobiography. The second fact is that CV, it is a marketing document used for getting you a job or an IT placement or even an interview or a selection for a test. So it is a marketing document. So if it's a marketing document, then you know that the CV is there to sell you and market you for the job you're applying for. The third fact is that your CV is how employers first meet you. So there's this popular saying that says first impressions matter a lot. So your CV is more like the first impression about you. It is the first thing your employer is going to first say about you is how they first see you or get to know you. So note that. So you always want to make a very good first impression. And lastly, which is the fourth fact, is that the decision, that's your employer or your prospective employers, that decision to interview you or not is often made after a quick glance at this all important document called a CV. So you want them to see your CV and make that decision that, oh, I think we should interview this person. I think we should call them for an interview. So put these four facts in mind when you are crafting your CV, and I think that is going to help you very much in doing justice to your CV. So in summary, um, I've said this, and this is just a summary of all the four facts. The CV is essentially a document that enables you to sell yourself to an employer in the best possible way. So the keyword here is sell yourself. So you're using the CV to sell yourself. Now, there was a question here. So is your CV so powerful that it grabs the attention of worried employers, forces them to stop, read, and then pick up the phone and call you or send you an email? So now, this is the CV test. This is how you know if your CV is one that strikes the employer. So that's why we call our organization striking CV. It must be striking. So if your CV, like, because employers get quite a lot of CVs, but as they're going through a lot of CVs, does yours stand out such that when they see it, it grabs their attention? So it's just like you're on social media, you're just scrolling, all of a sudden you see something that, you know, catches your attention. You stop for a while. So does your CV also have such an effect on your employers? So when it happens like that, they pick up the phone, they call you, or they send you an email. So if your CV is not doing that, then it's not passing the CV test. Then what is a perfect CV? Five key things here is that a perfect CV is performance based. Performance based means that you really want to show performance, that you can do the job in your CV. Human centric. Human centric means that there is an human touch to your CV, such that when someone reading it can know that, oh yes, this is an human. It shouldn't be mechanical or robotic. Your CV should also be short and concise. I know a lot of people have asked questions as to how long should my CV be, but it should be short and concise. It should be job specific. So you shouldn't be applying for one role with the CV of another role. It doesn't make sense at all. There is no problem if you have as many CVs as possible, specifically for different job you are applying for. So make it specific to the job. And lastly, your CV should be easy to glance through. So it shouldn't be muddy. It shouldn't be, it should be readable. It should be easy to glance through. Now we are going to the practical aspects of this session, which is how to write a CV with part of a CV. So yes, so follow me. It's getting technical now. This is where the real workshop is, and as we go through, I'm very sure you would see some of the things you can do to make your own CV. So first of all, personal information. So personal information includes your name, the job role you're applying for, your contact details, social media, your email, and location if you want to add that as well. So key things to note about personal info: pick one name and stick with it on all your social profiles and resume. So these days when employers get your CV, they also want to check you out on social media. So you should have the same name on your resume or your CV and also on your social media profile, so that you are easy to recognize, they know that it's the same person, then feel free to skip your middle name. So it's not a must to add your middle name. Your first and your last name is okay. Do not add any prefix or suffix before or after your name. So for example, like adding Mr. Frank Donga, you don't need that Mr. You don't need that prefix. So just your first name, last name is okay. And be careful writing some advanced degree together with your name. So for example, the way some people add titles to their name based on the degrees they've had, you really don't need that. Be so simple. Your name, your last name. That's straightforward. So next is career objective. Um, Career objective, it's a summary statement that gives an introduction to whoever is seeing your CV. So it's trying to answer the question, tell me about yourself in just a few lines. And also answering the question of what critical problems are you well positioned to solve, and lastly, what value are you bringing to the table. So let's see the example we have above. So it says enthusiastic front-end developer with 2+ years experience in developing web applications using PHP and JavaScript. So that's already telling you a summary of what this person can do, like tell me about yourself. Then the next part is looking to use my background in responsive web design, database design, accessibility to obtain the front-end developer intern position at Paystack. So this now is like showing what you are bringing to the table and what you are hoping to achieve and the critical problems you are hoping to solve. Next is experience. So for experience, it's advisable that you write accurate title of the previous positions you've held before now. It could be internships, it could be IT placement you've had before now, but write accurate title of your position. So in describing your time at the company, it's good to practice to include month and year. So include the month and year, probably the start year and the end year. And if you are still there, say till date or present. Then type the full name of the company or organization. Don't use abbreviation. And also, if the company is not like a really well organization and they have a website, you can always include the links to the organization website as well, so that someone can check them out, but it's not really compulsory. So in writing your work experience, that's for the responsibilities, focus on outcomes, not activities. So you don't want to just say I did this. No, you want to focus on achievements. You want to focus on some key things you did that are striking. So in this place, you want to add figures, percentages, numbers, things that just show that yes, you really achieved significant results in that position you held. And in addition to saying that you could add a link to the website of the company, it's also adding a little description, like 1 or 2 sentence description um, about the company, sorry, if they are not really well known. So this is just something you can do for your work experience part. For education really straightforward. So unless you have significant relevant work experience outside of school, then your education sections should stay at the top of the resume. So let me explain what this means. So for most people who are like fresh graduates, they really don't have job experience yet. So it's good that you present your education first on your resume before any other part like work experience. But if you have really cogent work experience, that could go first before your education. But if you don't, your education first. So you want to write the full name of the course you did in school and the university name. And if you have any degrees that are in view, let's say you are wearing a course but you're not yet through with it, you can add it and say in view. If you have done with a course, you can put the year in which you finished the course there. And then if you have like a very strong GPA, definitely you want to add that as a bragging right. Yes, it stands you out. You want to say, okay, you had first class, second class honors, things like that. It's really good. But if you really don't have that, probably it's a third class or a second class lower, things like that. It's not a must you add that. You can always just remove that. Just focus on the name of the school, the course you did, the year you graduated, and you'll be fine. Now for industry skills, so this is Engineering Career Expo. So I believe I'm speaking to more developers, but this also applies to even those that are not developers. So the same thing applies to them as well. So you want to add industry skills you have, or software skills, or even any other skill that you have here. So it's not a must to put them in this format like the way you see on my slides, but you can just list them out. You shouldn't include every skill you have. Definitely remember that your CV should be easy to glance at once. So you don't want to put every of your skill there. You only want to put the ones that are relevant for the job you are applying for. So again, always check the job description to be sure of which skills they're asking for, which one you have that match what the employer is looking for, so that you can know which ones to put on your CV. And then if they didn't mention any skill in the job description, you just want to add the skills that are most important for that position, just as you feel best to be done. So yes, you can do that. Then certifications and courses that you have done. So for example, if you've taken courses on LinkedIn, on Lynda, on coding site, Coursera, things like that, you can also include that on your CV as well. So whether they are offline or online courses, but as far as they are relevant to the job you're applying for, feel free to include them there. Then if you don't have a certification, but let's say you have attended some trainings before now, which are still relevant to the job you're applying for, you can add the trainings as well. So sometimes you can have both of them on your CV, and if it's just one of them you have, either certification or training, you can put that as well on your CV. Then if you are currently taking a course and you are 100% positive that you pass the exam or project for the certificate, it's also acceptable to add it as a future certification on your resume. So you can even add that before you complete that, because it's something you are still going to get and it can go ahead to boost your CV. So for projects and activities, so if you have done any projects before, so for most people who are in school and they've really not had like outside world experience, real work experience, you can use your projects in schools, like the hackathon side projects, to really speak much about you. You can use that to boost your CV. Let's say you volunteered for events, you can add that to your CV as well. But remember, it should be something that is applicable to the job. Then in listing out the projects and activities you do, you also want to focus on results, just like I said in the work experience part. Shine, let your personality shine out, bring out the results you achieved while you were working on those projects, and say what you did, what was the outcome of your actions, even if it was a short-term assignment you did. So I'll go ahead and show you samples of CVs that we have. So samples of CVs. Okay, it's coming up. All right. So here we have about 3 samples. Yeah, but I really don't know if you can see. Okay, but yeah, there are about 3 samples of CV here. So these samples look beautiful. So you can take a look at these and see if you like any one of them. If you want to replicate them for your own self, that's perfect. And you can always go online and see other beautiful templates as well that you can always customize for yourself based on what you want. So these are just templates to show you, to let you know how CVs could look like. So I think I'm getting to the end of this workshop session, and this is something for you to remember. And something to remember is that, first of all, don't try to apply for jobs that you don't fit. So for me, this point just means that you'll be wasting your time trying to do that, because there'll be more qualified people than you applying for the job. So I know it's okay to try your luck. It's okay to still test and see, but believe you me, there are a lot of people searching for job. You saw the statistics at the beginning of my presentation, and definitely they are going to outperform you. So if you really don't think you are fit for a job, or whether the things they are looking for in a job, you really don't have it yet, like it's way higher than what you have, don't bother yourself. You are definitely going to find jobs that fit the skills you have right now. If you search harder, or if you network harder and let people know what you do, you will definitely get jobs that fit you. So don't bother yourself trying to apply for jobs that don't fit. And you can always upskill later to add more skills to what you have, so that you can later fit for these jobs, even if you don't fit for them now. Secondly, you can name your resume according to the company and job you're applying for. So most times when people are told to send their CVs for a job, it's really shocking to see how some people name their CVs. It's even also bad that some people send their CVs in Word. A lot of people don't know that sometimes when you send your CVs in Word, it can get scattered on another person's system and it's not showing anything. So you want to present your CV in PDF so that it's still packaged and it still maintains its order when it gets to the recipient. And don't name your CV as just resume, CV. No, it doesn't make sense. Put your name, put the role you are applying for, then you can put CV at the end. So name your CV, your name, the role you're applying for. That makes sense. It's perfect. And you can move on. And sometimes for some jobs, the recruiter will like tell you that if you are going to be sending your CV to me as email, this is what you should put as the title of the email. So that can give you an hint as to how to also name your CV when you are sending them. So just be very careful the way you name your CV because the way you name your CV will make it more identifiable. They'll know who owns the CV and what shows. So for example, if they have put out many roles for people to apply for and you put only your name, they might not know which of the roles you are applying for. But if you put your name and the job title you're applying for, it just makes it more recognizable and more easy to find. Then thirdly, find the recruiter's email and send the resume directly to him or an insider who can recommend you. You can find them from LinkedIn or anywhere else. So this is for those who are job hunting. Like if you are the one doing your job hunting yourself, trying to research and look for jobs online yourself, it's advisable to use LinkedIn because a lot of people are there and you can get jobs from there. And if you find a company you want to apply to, find the recruiter's email. There are ways to do this anyway, but this session is not really the time to really go deeply into those things. So you find recruiter's email, send the mail to them directly, or if you know anybody who works in that company, you can send the mail to them. But in the case where you are not job on, probably someone just sent you the message or apply for this thing, or maybe you're just searching online, you just saw it, you might not really need to send to the recruiter's email because sometimes they tell you you have to fill a form to fill in your application. So for companies like Andela, you submit your application on their website, so they give you a place to upload your CV, upload your cover letter, fill in your private details, and you are done. So different companies have different ways of allowing people to apply for different jobs, but um, no matter which one you choose, they all work, and I feel you'd know what to do depending on the situation you find yourself. And lastly, always prepare for your interview. So if you have done a good job following some of the steps that have been mentioned here in crafting your CV like a pro, and you're able to get in for the interview, please prepare for your interview because it's one thing to get to the stage of the interview, it's another thing to pass that interview stage to get a job. So always prepare for your interview, research the company, know your strengths, know what you can do for them, know what you are bringing to the table, and be confident. Present yourself well in a good light. Okay, so yeah, this is going to be a question and answer session, but I really don't think there is enough time for me to take questions. But I'm going to show you another way you can reach me so that you can ask me any question you have for me. So you can connect with me on LinkedIn, on Medium, and on Twitter. These are my handles. You are free to send me a message on LinkedIn and on Twitter. I'm always there. You can ask me any question about CV, cover letter, applying for jobs, going for interviews. You can ask me. I will definitely answer you, and I'll be very happy to receive your questions. And then if you also want me to review your CVs, I have few slots for anyone who just wants me to take a look at their CV and tell them what they can do better to make it more beautiful and more appealing. So yes, I'm very much open. My DM is open on LinkedIn and on Twitter. Feel free to reach out to me. I'll be willing to have you there. So yes, ask me your questions there anytime, any day. Okay, so we've come to the end of this session. Thank you very much, ECX. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to me. I hope that you all have been able to pick one or two things, and I hope that you can also take all of these things that we have shared here to go craft your CV like a pro. So thank you, and I'll be looking forward to having you on social media. Connect with me, ask me your questions. Thank you very, very much. So yeah, that will be all for now.